Hi, welcome to Inspire TV. I'm your host, Sharon Zahavi, and today we have Ed Pallas with us. Hi, Ed.
Hi, Sharon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent.
Great. Well, we like to tell inspiring stories from inspiring people. So how about you start by sharing a little bit about your background and your story?
Sure. So I've been a police officer for 29 years and a hostage negotiator for 22 of those years. And I'm kind of a big geek, big nerd. I geek out on leadership, communication, stress and resilience, that kind of thing.
Stress and resilience, and you were a hostage negotiator. That sounds very stressful.
Yes, ma'am. Can be.
Okay. Is there any specific incidents that, like, you recall that you felt like they were really challenging you?
So it's funny you say that. If you had asked me that 22 years ago, I'd have said every one of them. That's when I first started out. You know, when you're new at something, you're going to be a little more stressed and a little less confident at it. If you fast forward to 2 weeks ago, standing in a apartment hallway, we're on the 6th floor, I'm standing behind 4 cops. 2 of them have shields, these big ballistic shields, and all 4 of them have their guns out. And they're all pointed at the doorway of a hotel room where a gentleman was barricaded inside. We had information from his family that he had been doing cocaine and ecstasy, and he had threatened to shoot one of the hotel workers. So that's how we found ourselves there.
Gosh. Okay.
So my job as one of the first people who got there is I'm standing behind the cops, literally yelling like this. My role is to get him to just pick up the phone where he can talk to our primary negotiator. And he had a very hoarse voice, but what he said was very clear. He said, "Don't come in, I will shoot you all."
That sounds very stressful.
Believe it or not, it wasn't.
Really?
Like I said, 22 years ago, it would have been stressful because you're very nervous, you're self-conscious about what you're trying to say because everything's being recorded and we're going to critique it later. Mm-hmm. But 2 weeks ago, I've done it enough times that I really wasn't concerned, and I've learned to develop some tools, some tips, and kind of some techniques to hold my stress hostage, if you will, and raise my resilience.
I would love to hear a little bit of this. I mean, how do you manage your stress when the stakes are so high? I mean, most of us are stressed with nothing like really that important that is going on, like something this serious.
Yeah, so I guess the number one thing to know about stress is stress can make a mess. It can make a mess of your personal life. It can make a mess of your business life, your relationships. And we all have stress in our lives. It can be triggered from sitting in traffic. It can be triggered from an email from your boss. Mm-hmm. It can be triggered from sitting in a TV studio and not really being comfortable doing TV interviews.
Interesting.
So, yeah. The 3 things I've kind of, and I know we don't have time for a lot, but so let me just give you three tips.
Yeah, absolutely.
First one is to recognize it. Name it to tame it. In other words, do you notice your hands start to tremble a little bit? Do you notice you start to get flushed, or maybe you breathe a little deeper? So start to be self-aware, notice that, and know that that's okay. That's part of the stress response. Next thing is, you probably want to recognize what it's doing to your body and just kind of relax. Now, I know that's easier said than done, right? Everybody says, well, what does relax mean? So let me give you something more specific. If you start to derail, inhale. So in other words, when you start finding yourself, even if you're sitting in traffic and you're hitting a steering wheel, just breathe, because that's where everything starts. Mm-hmm. And there's a technique that's called tactical breathing. It's really called box breathing, but I'm a cop and we have to say everything's cool, so it's got to be tactical. So if you put the name
Makes
tactical
sense.
on it, it sounds cooler. But that's where you just breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds.
I see the box.
Yes, you got it.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to just start to relax. And then the last thing you want to do is reframe. So the way the stress response, our bodies are perfectly designed to handle stress. Ideally, it's to get us out of physical danger, right? You've heard of the fight or flight response.
Yeah.
That's because when we face a situation that's physically dangerous, our body pumps all these chemicals, these hormones, in so that we can run like the wind or fight like heck to get out of the situation, and occasionally to freeze until the threat is gone. And that's fine. But the problem is, in modern times, as human beings, we activate that for everything. Didn't get enough likes on your Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, or TikTok, you start to stress. Sit in traffic, you start to stress. Can't pay your mortgage payment or your school loans, you start to stress. And so now we've taken this perfect response to get us out of danger, and we've activated it for all these psychological reasons. And now all these chemicals that are getting dumped in your body become more dangerous than the stressor itself.
Yeah, that's incredible, and it's so important for everybody since all of us deal with stress. But you said that your passion and your direction is more about leadership. So you mostly work with corporations about things like this, right?
Yes, I do.
So how does that work? Who do you usually work with?
So I work with corporations of various sizes. I usually work with some of the chief executives, some of the C-suite level, but I also do training for all the employees of the organization. So I do keynotes, training, and then some executive coaching on stress and resilience and leadership. Those are my two lanes of passion.
I mean, I would love to learn from you than anybody else that I've ever heard talk about stress because, like I said, it sounds like you really had to figure out how to deal with stress to do what you do. So what would be the easiest way to connect with you or find you anywhere if I do want to work with you?
Sure. My website's probably the easiest one, www.edwardpallas.com. I'm on LinkedIn, or you can send me an email at ed@edwardpallas.com.
All right, sounds great. Thank you so much for being here, Ed, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.